All right, physics class, I want to show you the next step in our lab when we're actually going to do some analysis on our data. So this is the data I collected from my pendulum. Now, what we're actually going to do is be able to get a value of g, gravitational acceleration, from this data. I'm going to show you one way we can do it. So we already know that the relationship between period of a pendulum and length looks like this. Okay? So it's 2 pi times the square root of L over G. What we want is to be able to put our data into a graph from the slope get G. Now, this is more like physics 30 stuff, but I'm going to give you a bit of a preview. If we graphed this as it is, t versus length, since the relationship is a square root, we would get a graph that looks like a square root graph, something like this. Okay? And in fact, I'll have you guys share your data with me, and then I'll put out our graph of everyone's combined data, and you'll see this relationship. But that's not going to help us get G. What we want is a straight line. And we're going to be able to do it. We're going to do something called linearizing data. This is the relationship. Period is going to go on the y-axis. Length can't go on the x-axis because it's not a linear relationship. It's a square root relationship. So check this out. We actually put the square root of length on the x-axis. And now we're going to get a straight line. Check it out. If I say, I'm just going to make up a variable here. Capital A equals the square root of length. This formula becomes t equals 2 pi over the square root of g times a, which is the square root of length. All right. If you remember your grade 10 linear functions, this is the general form for a line graph. There's nothing added here, so the y-intercept is 0. That makes sense. Okay. But what we're saying here is this is my dependent variable, square root of L. This is my independent variable, and this is the slope. I don't need you to walk around totally understanding this right now. When you take physics 30, we'll revisit this. But this is how we're going to get G from the slope of a graph. When we do a lab, typically we want to end up with a straight line and calculate slope. Okay, so again, we're going to graph period on the y-axis and the square root of length on the x-axis.